When John Carpenter introduced the world to Halloween in 1978, he didn't just make a low-budget horror film. He changed the genre forever. At its cold, silent center was Michael Myers, a character who would go on to become one of the most iconic and enduring figures in horror cinema. He wasn't just a killer. He was the Shape, a faceless, motiveless embodiment of evil that continues to haunt our collective nightmares nearly 5 decades later. Michael Myers' story begins on Halloween night in 1963, when a 6-year-old boy inexplicably murders his older sister. With that one act, committed silently without emotion or explanation, Michael becomes a terrifying anomaly. He is locked away, described as having the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, by Dr. Loomis, the man who becomes his lifelong pursuer. But what truly set Myers apart from other horror villains wasn't his backstory. It was the lack of one. Unlike future slashers who would be given tragic origins, revenge arcs, or mythologies, Myers was deliberately stripped of humanity. He didn't need a motive. He just killed. This approach set the tone for the slasher genre. Carpenter's original Halloween wasn't about gore or shock. It was about atmosphere. Michael was a blank-faced force who could be anywhere and strike at any time. The tension was in the silence, the shadows, and the terrifying idea that pure evil could live next door. Part of Michael Myers' chilling power comes from the iconography. The pale white mask, the emotionless face, the slow, deliberate movements. The mask, a repurposed Captain Kirk Halloween mask painted white, became an accidental masterstroke. It turned Michael into something inhuman. He wasn't a man. He wasn't a monster. He was a shape. Carpenter labeled him as such in the credits, not Michael or even the killer, but the Shape. This impersonal designation cemented him as something less than human, and somehow more terrifying for it. Unlike Freddy Krueger, who quipped his way through nightmares, or Jason Voorhees, who operated with an almost sympathetic rage, Michael was devoid of personality. That absence made him harder to predict, harder to understand, and impossible to reason with. And that made him scarier. Michael Myers' journey through cinema has been anything but straightforward. Halloween 2, 1981, introduced the controversial idea that Laurie Strode was Michael's sister, a Carpenter added reluctantly, and one that future entries would grapple with or outright ignore. From there, the timeline branched wildly. Halloween 4 introduced the Cult of Thorn mythology, giving Michael a supernatural motive and turning him into a cursed vessel of evil. Halloween 1998 brought back Jamie Lee Curtis in a post-Scream meta-slasher era, ignoring parts 3 to 6. Rob Zombie's Halloween reboot, 2007, tried to explore Michael's childhood and give him a psychological profile, arguably against everything Carpenter intended. The David Gordon Green trilogy stripped things back to the basics, erasing all sequels and rebooting the franchise as a direct continuation of the 1978 original. Here, Michael returned as an older, angrier, more brutal force, no longer Laurie's brother, but still deeply tied to her through trauma. Despite all the narrative chaos, Michael Myers remained consistent in one key way. He never spoke. He never changed masks. He never revealed a sliver of remorse. He kept walking, and he kept killing. Michael Myers isn't just a character. He's a symbol of evil as a constant, a shapeless threat that doesn't feel or think, just destroys. He doesn't chase his victims out of revenge or passion. He doesn't need to. He's death incarnate, inevitable and cold. That's part of why Michael Myers remains terrifying even after decades of horror. In an age of horror films that over-explain their monsters or try to humanize them, Myers remains opaque. His power is in the not knowing. His blank mask becomes a mirror. We see in him whatever we fear most. He's also a symbol of how trauma lingers. Laurie Strode, in every timeline, becomes a survivor haunted by what he did to her, and what he might do again. Whether she's a broken recluse or a hardened fighter, her life is defined by the ghost of that Halloween night. Today, Michael Myers stands alongside Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and the Xenomorph as one of horror's most recognizable figures. But unlike those monsters, he hasn't changed with the times. His legacy thrives because of his consistency. He is still the silent shape stalking the shadows of Haddonfield. He doesn't need special effects, clever dialogue, or modern updates. All he needs is a dark corner, a kitchen knife, and an open door. Michael Myers is a reminder that sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you see. It's what you don't see. Not the blood, not the scream, but the silence. The presence. The idea that something is just watching you from across the street, behind a hedge, waiting. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Michael Myers and the legacy of the Shape, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment with your favorite moment from the Halloween franchise. Is the original still the scariest? Did the reboot trilogy bring him back to form? Let us know below, and remember, you can't kill the boogeyman.
Well, I'll keep my doors locked. Thanks for telling me.